How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a new tactic that I've been creating in an attempt to make sure that my fullbacks are tackling opposition wingers as much as possible. One of the more frustrating things that I have noticed since playing Football Manager 2016 is the amount of goals that the opposition do score from crosses, where they manage to have one guy in the middle who always seems to be unmarked, and he always seems to get a simple tap in. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at how we can try to minimize that. So in this video, we're just going to have a look at three different things. We're firstly going to have a look at the tactics. Then I'm going to show you some highlights from some of my matches just to show you how the behavior and tactics that I've set up are working. And then thirdly, we're going to have a look at the analysis of my tactics just so that you can see it working in action. So firstly, having a look at my tactic, what I've been doing recently is just having both my fullbacks on the support duty most of the time, because I mostly have my mentality on standard for a lot of the game. Both my fullbacks, in this case Fox and Browning, they're on a fullback role, and what I've also been doing is having my wingers on the support duty just so that they will help out in defence as well. So one thing that I've been reading about quite a lot recently is just to make sure that your players are playing quite narrow, especially your fullbacks, just so that their position is a little bit closer to your centre backs. And when the time comes, what the idea is, because your fullback will basically be pretty close to your centre back, it gives your fullback a chance to kind of push forward pretty much into this position here. And what tends to happen is the centre back will actually drop into this kind of wider position, or potentially kind of drop back here. So keeping the kind of player instructions pretty simple, what I've decided to do is just tell both my fullbacks to sit a lot narrower, and also what I've been doing is getting them to pass the ball shorter as well. So at the moment, I'm getting most of my fullbacks at the club as well to learn a new preferred move. Obviously, if you've got quite a fast winger, a really good thing to make sure that or a preferred move to teach your fullbacks is the does not dive into tackles preferred move. Basically, we will see it on the match engine in a little bit, but if your fullback decides to dive into a tackle, what will basically happen is the winger will just be able to absolutely skin him. So this guy here, Morgan Fox, he's not exactly got the best pace, but what he does do, he will stay on his feet as best as possible. Just make sure that he's hassling the opposition winger, and that really is helping him to make sure that he's in a position to win a tackle against the winger. So what I've decided to do here, guys, just for one of my left backs, Morgan Fox, I wanted to highlight a particular game that he played against Huddersfield. You can see here that he made 4 tackles, one of which was a key tackle. And I also just wanted to highlight his positional heat map as well. So if we have a look at his average positions, if I have a look at it without the ball, you'll see here that he's actually pretty narrow. So most fullbacks you'd probably expect to roughly be around this position, but telling him to be a little bit more narrower, he actually does drop inside. So overall his position is actually quite deep, so that makes our defensive line a lot more stronger, because all of our centre backs and our defenders are a lot closer together. So before we get into watching this first highlight, guys, what I wanted to just let you know is that when I go into a match, what I'm actually doing is both of the wide players, so in this case it's going to be a guy called Corral who plays for Huddersfield, and say this guy Patterson here, what I've been doing is making sure that we are marking them tightly and also closing them down as soon as they get the ball. That is a really important opposition instruction to make sure that you are setting up when trying to close down the wingers as quickly as possible. So if we hit the play button here, what you'll see is, because I have told my fullbacks to be a lot narrower, you can see how close they are to our centre back, and to be honest, in terms of how they're actually set up, I'm actually really happy with that. So you can see here that if needs be, our left back is in pretty decent position to try and tackle Nahki Wells here. We've also got our 2 midfielders who are really close to this guy. Obviously our winger here is in a really good position to check out the run that this guy's doing. Also Browning can get across, and also our winger Bergdich is keeping quite a close eye on Carroll as well. So hit and play here, we can see that Nahki Wells does indeed pick up the ball in the middle of the park, and straight away my midfielder Cousins is making a beeline straight to him. Obviously my my left fullback Fox is in quite a good position to make a tackle on Carroll if Carroll does actually end up picking the ball. But of course, Bergdich is also really, really close to Carroll. So if we hit play here, we can see is literally the second that Carroll picks up the ball there on the right hand wing, we can see that my fullback Fox is straight onto him straight away. And what you can see that he makes a tackle instantly on the winger. And yeah, he's able to basically get the ball and knock it down the wing to our striker. So again, just taking a quick look at the second highlight that we've got here, you can see how sort of narrow my fullbacks are here. We've got Browning and Fox, who are really, really close to both our centre backs. What is basically going to be happening here, Naki Wells is going to get the ball, I think, through to Abue, but what we've got to have a look here, guys, is just the speed at which Fox manages to get over to Abue. So with the ball played through to Abue, pretty much straight away, Fox is able to just get straight over to him, and he basically, well, pretty calmly, he's hopefully just going to get rid of that down the line. So you can see at the speed at which Fox just got right across to Abue. Obviously, it's really good from our point of view that, you know, even from quite a narrow position, what he's being instructed to do is just absolutely anybody who gets into this position is just make an absolute beeline to just close them down as quickly as possible. And you can see that what he's doing is just winning the ball back really, really quickly, you know, and then just dealing with the problems basically. So this would be the last highlight that I will show you guys. This one's actually from a different game, but basically I've been playing Fox for pretty much most of the season, so he's pretty well versed in, you know, how exactly that I want him to play. So again, tight Browning is really, really sort of narrow on both our centre backs. So if this guy here, May, for example, if he did make a run through the middle of the pitch, Sar's in a really good position to pick him up, and Browning can also make, you know, a beeline just to make sure that he can pick him up as quickly as possible. In this example here, though, Fox is marking, I think it's a guy called Doyle, but basically if we hit play, so what is going to happen here, Doyle is going to pick up the ball. Again, we're just checking out our man Fox here just to see what he ends up doing in terms of tackling, but we can see here that our other centre back is just having a look at what's going on in this direction, but the ball is going to come through to Doyle. And pretty much like a shot, basically, Fox is going to be all over Doyle, just making sure that he can't basically do anything with the ball. And you can see here that he's just absolutely hounding him just until he gets the ball. So you can see Fox there makes a tackle. Again, just really, really calmly just passes it back to our midfielder. And again, you know, we just get another tackle in this game. I just wanted to show you the kind of key stats from this game. So you can see that Morgan Fox, our left back, he did actually manage to make 7 tackles in that game, which was, you know, I'm really, really happy with his contribution. Okay, so the analysis of all this, basically, if we have a look at the goal types, you know, it's a real common thing, and something that I really, really did struggle with a hell of a lot on Football Manager 2016, to be honest, was the amount of goals that come in, or sort of amount of crosses that are coming in, and then there's a lot of place shots. So I have conceded 17 goals from place shots, but if we take a look at the goal assists, you can see that only 8 of the goals that have been scored against my team have come from crosses. So ourselves, we have actually been getting the ball out wide just to kind of score goals ourselves from crosses, but we've scored 13 goals from crosses, but the opposition have only actually scored 8 goals from crosses. Ordinarily this number would be a lot higher. The opposition teams are having to find different ways to try and, you know, make sure that they're trying to score goals against us. So the through ball, that's given them quite a lot of goals against us, and potentially that's something I might have to look at. But in terms of the amount of crosses that I assist locations, especially, this really has been cut down by the changes that I have made. So I am going to call this the end of the episode, guys, but just to make sure, the things that you need to be doing is just to make sure that your player instructions, to make sure that your left and right backs are sitting as narrow as possible. Make sure that you're giving them the preferred move of not diving into tackles. Make sure that when you're setting up your opposition instructions, that you are making sure that your that the strikers, the left and right midfielders for the opposition are tightly marked and they're really closed down quickly. In terms of team instructions as well, what I've been doing is playing fairly narrow, just to make sure that my left and right backs are sitting as narrow as possible. And also what I've been doing is closing down more as well. So all of these things, it seems to be working at the moment. Obviously, if you guys could please test this out for me, just to let me know how you get on. Obviously, I was having a lot of troubles like conceding goals from crosses and things like that, but at the moment it seems to be working pretty well, which is why I wanted to share this with you guys. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on the videos. It really, really does help the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be back very, very soon for some more videos exactly like this. And of course, do leave a comments, and we'll be back very, very soon. Thanks for watching.